On Wall Street, we are front stabbers. In Washington, they're back stabbers. So for me to go into politics, that's it. You're going right into the volcano. But you could fix it.
No, but don't run away from that for a second. Let's go down.
He's talking politics and shit, running for re-election in my marriage. I'm just trying to stay married.
New York City, the finance capital of the world. It has more ambition than one tiny island can handle.
And it's not a bad place to get a bite to eat either. For 3 decades, we've made it here on the markets, calling our shots, and always speaking our minds. But the best conversations happen across the table. So pull up a chair while we break bread with founders, CEOs, and creators, all in the iconic spots that define the greatest city on earth. This is Standing Table.
Presented by Apex FinTech Solutions.
Tonight, we're at Hunt and Fish Club talking with Anthony Scaramucci, a personal friend of mine who also happens to co-own the joint. Most people know him for his famous 2 weeks in the Trump White House, but he's so much more than that.
He's the founder of SkyBridge Capital, a fixture on Wall Street and one of New York's most compelling comeback stories. In 2015, he co-founded Hunt and Fish Club, a tribute to 1960s New York and old-school hospitality. The vibes are immaculate, making it the perfect place to share a meal and catch up with old friends.
So take the Negroni to talk about, all right?
I'll have a Grey Goose Martini up, just a little dirty with Alice.
Johnny Black on the rocks. Thank you.
Nice.
I want the people to know something before we even get started. In our world, a Wall Street world, for a lot of people, if somebody makes $1 more than them, they resent that person. You are somebody in a rarefied air, very few people, that champion other people's success.
I'm going to like this show, Nathan.
But tell me I'm wrong.
Until they get
I
to
think
me.
that's the number one thing, guy. No one's ever worked for me. People work with me.
Yeah.
Right? We're together. Not to get overly philosophical, but there's only 2 things you can give your kids. Celebrate the successes of your friends and do something you really love, because you're only going to be here visiting, right? What does Mel Brooks say? Relax. None of us are getting out of here alive.
You got that from your family, though. That's how you grew up. So let's talk about your childhood.
I did get raised like that. So I got raised really by 2 very strict Italian Catholic women, my grandmother and my mother. My father raised us, but it was more tangential because he was always working. But traditional stuff, share, play nice. Did you ever see this as a kid?
Of course.
Yeah. Southern Italian, you're going to get hit with something. Wooden spoons coming at you, somebody could throw something at you, you could get hit. But this was, you better cut it out. That was like the warning from your grandma.
And the very Southern Italian, the non-Italians, the Sicilians, it's even worse.
He does all the time. He says, "You're Italian." And he says,
I'm half Italian, half Sicilian.
Yeah, well, that's correct, because my grandmother would say Sicily was an island off the coast of Africa, okay, because she was Napolitan.
Yeah.
Okay, the Sicilians were like in a whole different world.
That's 100% true.
He knows that, right? He knows that. It was an old school family, and they were dedicated to hard work. And my dad had a lot of integrity. He paid his bills. He had a great line. He's like, if you can't afford the price of the ticket, don't go to the movies. You remember that expression? And so even though when I got to Wall Street, it was like a fish out of water. I don't know if that was like that for you,
100%.
Guy, or you. I didn't know what the hell was going on. There was a lot of hazing in the 80s, a lot of pushing and shoving, but there was also, my first job interview, I think I've told people this, I was in 100% poly for my first job interview. Okay, so I literally looked like a funeral director.
That's polyester for people not familiar with the fabric.
I was fully flammable for my first job interview. I had poly suit on,
including the stuff in your hair.
I had a poly shirt. Well, I kept the poly going in my hair, and thank God I still have my hair. The 2 of you, okay. But then the partner from Goldman Sachs says, "Hey, can I see you for a second?" You're the worst dressed person that I've ever met in my life. He goes, "By the way, you're a smart kid. I can't invite you down to Goldman Sachs dressed like this." I remember calling my mother after the interview. She says, "You look great. You look great." I said, "No, I didn't look great. I had to go to J Press, which was like a super wasp place. I got myself one of those student credit cards because I didn't have any money. And I bought myself 2 cotton shirts, a woolen suit, and then I went down to Goldman and did the interview again."
I don't think people realize how well-read you are. Like, you watch an interview with Anthony Scaramucci, and there's a very good chance you will quote from some novel that most people never heard of, let alone read.
I think that you have to read. You don't have enough time in life to experience all of life if you're not reading. You need to draw on the intellectual capacity of other people. It goes back to Homer, the Bible, etc. And you can catch the thread of some of the smartest people that have ever lived through literature. And it'll make you somebody that can see patterns in investing, historical patterns politically.
What patterns are you seeing now that sort of you can go back in time and history and say, what we're seeing now mirrors X?
Well, I mean, different categories, right? So on
markets,
on the
politics.
markets, I think Ray Dalio has the best understanding of it. Thank you, my brother. If you read what Ray is saying about if we're just going to be open with people, we will.
Cheers.
Hey, salute.
Cheers,
God bless, guys.
Thank you.
Congratulations
Thanks
on
for
the
having
show.
us, brother.
Good to see you both. So I think Ray's got the best read on the situation. We're overextended as a welfare state. We're overextended in the West. We have a group of politicians that have overpromised the electorate and undertaxed them. And we went from George Washington to George W. Bush, $7 trillion of debt, and we've racked up about $31 trillion of debt, talking Barack Obama into Donald Trump, Joe Biden, Donald Trump. So that's not going to be sustainable. You end up paying for it, and our politicians have chosen that we're going to pay for it in the most pernicious and the most regressive way, and that's through inflation.
So Dalio, he's brilliant. Most of his concerns about everything that you just laid out are just dismissed, right? They're dismissed by academics. They're dismissed by market participants. Why do you think that is? Because we hear
They're not dismissed by the people I grew up with, though.
Yeah.
Because the people I grew up with are hurting. You know, take my father, hourly wage, the dollar comes in, and now you ruined the dollar. You took it down 30% since January of 2020. You just stole 30% of his life, Dan. So I understand what the academics are saying. And by the way, if you own assets and you're on Wall Street, you're relatively protected. But if you're a lower middle income family that has no assets, you're getting destroyed. And what happens is you go towards angry populists. You go to the right, angry populism, and you'll go to the left, angry populism, because you're trying to send a message to the establishment, hey man, this is not working for me anymore. Can I give a statistic real quick?
100%.
Okay, so I want everybody to think about this. Realtor.com, what is the median price of a house right now, U.S.? $432,000.
I was going to say, you know what? I was going to say 460. So
Okay,
I wasn't that
so
far away.
432. So then you reverse engineer. What do you got to make to afford the house, pay the mortgage, and have a little bit of cash left over so that you're not house rich and cash poor? About $160,000. The median income in the United States is $84,000. So that means half of the people in the United States, they can't afford that house. They're skipping medical payments, they're skipping dentistry, they may miss a prescription drug, or maybe the car got dented and they can't bring it to the repair store. You know, you get the point I'm making. This struggle, okay, you're correct, the academics are correct, we'll survive it, but this pernicious inflation, this regressive tax is hurting those people, and they're angry, and they're not eating at the Hunt and Fish Club, by the way, they're eating at McDonald's. And they're mad at the people that are eating at the Hunt and Fish Club.
So let me ask you a
That's
question.
the facts.
The wealth gap, as you just said, in this country is the widest it's ever been, and it continues to grow daily. How do you end that cycle? How do you reverse the cycle?
Let's talk about it. You have to understand how it happened first, then you can fix it. In 1999, July, the World Trade Organization was meeting in Seattle, and there were huge protests up there. You and I were young guys on Wall Street. And I was like, what are these people doing? Why are they protesting? This is so good for our companies. They're going to offshore. They're going to lower their manufacturing costs. Unit production's going to go up. This stuff's going to flow back into the U.S. at lower prices. It's going to be good for the shareholder. But their message was it was not going to be good for the working class people in the society. They were right, guys. And we on Wall Street got it completely wrong. So that was step number one. Number two, when Ross Perot challenged the establishment in 1992, he got 19.9% of the vote running for president. He scared the daylights out of the two parties. They locked with each other, and they created this very tight duopoly, and they've made it impossible for a third party to enter the race. Ask Bobby Kennedy. Donald Trump himself in 2000 wanted to run as a Reform Party candidate. And then through the gerrymandering, they've even tightened it more. Okay, so now what do these guys do? They only focus on big business, big food, big pharma. They're not focused on the little guy. Look at the legislative agenda for the Congress in the United States now, and you'll see there's where the problems are. So you need to reform those two aspects. And until you do that, you're not going to recreate that American dream in the country.
So let's talk about going back to your childhood. You go to Tufts, you graduate from Harvard Law School. You have a job at Goldman Sachs. You beat the game, right?
Yeah.
Your parents have to be like, oh my God, congratulations, Anthony.
My mother was mad. You ever watch Moonstruck?
Of course.
My mother has
Loretta, get
threatened.
me the big knife.
Loretta, get me the big knife. My mother has, said she's going to plunge it into her chest
Right.
maybe 2,000 times since I was born. 2,000 times. One of them was when I said I was going to work at Goldman. You're not going to be a lawyer? My son's not going to be a lawyer after going to law school? What the hell is wrong with you? One day, true story, I'm in Rosano's Italian Deli in Port Washington. I'm getting the Rosano Supremo. I'm getting everything on it.
Obviously.
And Mrs. Kazenza, I'm getting the hero, and Mrs. Kazenza's there. And she says, Anthony, how's that law firm treating you? I said, excuse me? She says, the law firm, Goldman Sachs.
Right.
The law firm that you're working at, Goldman Sachs. I said, the law firm I'm working at? I said, it's going well.
Right.
Mrs. Kazenza.
It's going well.
I
Thanks
called my
for
mother.
asking.
You told her I'm working at a law firm? I was embarrassed for
Right.
you.
I was
I
embarrassed,
was embarrassed for you. So that's the family I grew up in, okay? That's everything you need to know about what they thought of my career.
Look at this.
All right, well, there we go.
That's
We gotta-
beautiful.
A
Gotta
little,
take care of the...
a blob there. Oh,
Thank you,
Beautiful.
guys.
look at that. Thank you.
This is exactly what I need.
Guy, you're off the carbs, aren't you, bud?
By the way, I just want to show for the camera, okay, what don't you see here? Now show yours, please.
Well, I got to get you one.
I mean, I should have done it a while ago.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah, he
Hopefully-
owns
he
the
I gotta
joint.
get
No, I
you.
understand
Yeah,
this, but
let's-
it's not
yeah,
just
no,
Anthony
no, no.
Scaramucci
No,
knives. There are other people
Wait,
that
I
has
don't-
that name.
There's a knife up there. All
Sorry.
right, no,
Sorry,
don't worry.
I
Next
understand.
time you
If it
come
hasn't
back.
happened yet, it's not going to
No,
happen.
no, the next time you come back, we're going to
Thank
get
you,
you
brother.
one, okay?
Your people love you.
beautiful.
People,
All right,
I know the
come on
people at
here, Hanson. Get over here.
SkyBridge
Come
very well. We've done a lot of things. We've had the interns
We're
come to our
blessed, man.
show.
We're blessed.
But that's a culture. Speak to the important. I mean, you started at Goldman Sachs. I mean, speak to the importance of culture.
Well, the
That's a
number
word
one,
that
the
we
number
throw around
one
all the
thing
time.
is make sure you always have interns in your office. I always have 15 or 20 young people because it's a way to pay it forward, right? There's a kid in school right now. He's looking for a summer job. If he gets one, it redirects his career or her career. It makes their slope of their potential success higher. Someone comes to me and says, hey, I need a job. If I have the room, I bring them in.
Yeah.
What I don't want to do is hoard. You want to share. You want some of the pasta? Look at you. You look a little thin, though. You look a little bit.
Me?
Yeah, you look a little
Dude, I'm on the
thin side.
Ozempic, you know that.
Yeah, but I didn't want to say it. I'll let you
No,
talk
it's
about
fine.
it.
Serve.
I-
Use
I
two
can't
hands.
stop.
I mean, what the hell are you doing? Come on.
I want to go back to something you said. There was a time at some point in your career, and you're in the same camp, I'm in the same camp, we actually started making more money than your dad.
For my
Guy, what was that like for you?
For me, it was upsetting because my parents were a lot smarter than I am, which is not a high bar. But they went to law school. My parents met the first day of law school in 1960 at Fordham.
Nice.
Very accomplished. And I'm just some jackass, betting on whether or not gold's going higher or lower. And there was a period of time, you're right, where I was at a level that they were not. And
You felt like an imposter
still,
syndrome?
absolutely.
Don't
I
say
think
you still- you
No,
must say that.
absolutely still do.
Well, for me, it was the first year. I think my dad's last salary when he retired in 2000 was like $42,000, $43,000. So, my first job, I think, was $80,000 plus a $30,000
By the way,
guaranteed
inflation
bonus.
adjusted,
Yeah, it was a lot of
That's a
money.
shit ton of money.
That was a lot of money. And that was Goldman at the time, very high-paying job. But we all grew up differently. My father had a labor's income, and it varied. And so if we were in a recession, his hours got cut back, guess what happened in the house? We got cut back. If the hours expanded, then we had extra bicycles or different things. The air conditioning, we had it, but it went in on Memorial Day. It came out on Labor Day. It could have been 500 degrees
Didn't matter.
the day after Labor Day. It did not matter to my father. And my brother and I used to carry him up and put him in and tape him into the windows. Again, I did not grow up poor. I would never dishonor my dad by telling anybody I grew up poor. Did not grow up poor. I thought it was a great way to live and a great way to grow up. But I was contributing to my parents' monthly net from the age of 12. I had a Newsday paper out. When I got my work papers, I was able to go work at Key Food, which was a local supermarket. My uncle had a motorcycle shop. I was selling mopeds out of there as a kid, and I was making, I don't know, $50, $60, $70 a week. and I was giving 45 of it to my mother. When I got my job at Goldman, I was giving my parents money because I didn't want, again, that house that I grew up in, $16,000 for the house. The taxes on the house today are $24,000. My parents could never, and I want to repeat this, never afford the house that I grew up in on fixed income, a pension, a union pension, Social Security. Forget it. And that's something I really learned the hard way.
Well, but you learned it, though. There are a lot of people
It's important to learn.
that know it but haven't learned it. For whatever reason, they don't want to admit to or go back to those roots.
But it's important, Guy, because in a great society, the people feel aspirational. And whether we like it or not, we took a group of our people in the United States that were once all economically aspirational. Like I was in a blue-collar, economically aspirational family. We turned many of those families into blue-collar desperational in about 40 years. And you may not feel it in your day-to-day. I don't necessarily feel it given the neighborhood I'm living in now, the restaurants I'm hanging out in, the great people I'm talking to, but it's there. And we have to understand why, and then we have to fix it. We actually have to fix it.
Where does Bitcoin come in? Because this is something, you talk about the debasement of the dollar, you talk about something that, is not manipulatable. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing. Did you see the social and political aspects of this? Because it was a movement. I don't know if it still is.
See, I expected this question, right? So I brought props.
Oh,
let's
look
take
at
out
that.
the props. Okay.
Are the $100 bills
Yeah,
props?
these are Italian singles. In Guy Adami's neighborhood, these are Italian singles. Okay, I brought them.
So you're buying dinner, basically.
I'm buying dinner, don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you can Google this, Dan. This is made out of cotton.
Yeah.
It's made out of linen. Okay, 75% cotton, 25% linen. This is why when you wash it, you pull it out of the washer and dryer, okay? And there's a couple of counterfeiting things on it. And now we're back in philosophy in freshman year. Is this piece of linen and cotton worth anything? Okay, and the answer is philosophically, it's not. But if I give it to the maitre d' or the bartender, or I give it to the guy parking the car, he's a happy camper because he trusts this. He knows he can give this to somebody else. And so this is a piece of technology. Got that? This is something we all trust. Instead of bartering, we didn't walk in here with a calf from our farm. We put it on a table, said, hey, give us our dinner tonight. You can make veal parmesan for 2 weeks. We didn't do that. Brought in this. So this is a technology that we're using in exchange for bartering. See what he did?
I believe me. I watched every minute.
What?
You guys saw that? I'm sorry.
And how long has he been your partner?
No, I really have.
I'm sorry.
See, look at that, huh? Wall Street guy.
Yeah.
See what he did? He was moving so fast, you see?
Yeah.
So this is what we accept today. 1,000 years ago, maybe it was gold. Maybe it was an emperor's face on a piece of copper, a piece of silver. And we have always said we're going to take something that is worthless, and we're going to define it as being worth something, and we're going to use it as a medium of exchange. You have money in your bank account. Those are electronic digits. Your bank is a spreadsheet, okay? It's got a beautiful building attached to it, and it's got mahogany on the walls, but it's a spreadsheet. I want to buy the Mercedes. I wire the digits. They go down in my account, up at the Mercedes account, and the G-Wagon shows up in my driveway. So you have to understand that the money's always been worthless. Once you understand that it's been worthless, but we trust it, then you can get into Bitcoin. Because what is Bitcoin? Like your bank, it's a spreadsheet. It just happens to be an open, transparent, fully decentralized, fully secure by hundreds of thousands of nodes spreadsheet. And it's not replicable. This is a computer program that cannot be devalued. And this could actually help the people that we're talking about. This could actually help them when they make money from their time and labor. They're getting something that can't be corrupted or devalued by their
Why does
politicians.
it go down then?
That's a different thing, because it's a piece of technology.
Yeah.
There's value in the network, but there's not a lot of value in 2 fax machines. But 200 million fax machines, now we have an information superhighway. 1 billion iPhones, we now have an iMessaging system that has value. And so what's going on with Bitcoin is it got started. Some of the flakes and libertarians and introverts and nuts said this is great, and they started buying it. and the rest of us didn't understand it and poo-pooed it. And then as we started to understand it, we started adopting it, and it's not there yet. So go look at an S curve of adoption. Amazon, Microsoft, you have early adopters. Then when you get to the late adopters, you always have these volatile cycles.
Italian Signals is a phenomenal product. Thanks for bringing that.
Okay, yeah, no, I knew I was getting the Bitcoin question. That's why
I just
showed
learned
up.
something today.
I showed
That
up with
was
the
awesome.
Tony Soprano dough. You know, the U.S. economy, for all of our wars, to tell you how great the country is, U.S. economy went from 24.2% of the world's GDP.
To 30.
Yeah, okay, in a very short period of
And
time.
we're 5% of the global population.
Exactly. In the United States, for the most part, we've had prejudice, we've had discrimination, racism, but for the most part, you could come here to the United States and you had a very flat, decentralized system set up by the founders where the government was more or less off your back. So you come to a city like this and you could thrive and you could hit the arc of your American dream. And you could start like I did from a group of tenant farmers in southern Italy and end up on Wall Street financially independent.
You know what I'm listening to?
So that,
What am I listening to right now?
what are you listening to?
An acceptance speech.
An acceptance
Oh,
speech.
there you go.
Yeah.
Politician.
I mean,
right
there
here.
is.
I'm running for re-election of my marriage. I'm just trying to stay married.
And you're doing well.
But you could fix it.
No,
you could,
but
you
don't
could
run
fix
away
it.
from that for a second. Let's go down.
You need more
We're gonna
Negroni,
need-
my
well,
man.
because,
hook me up,
you
man.
know,
He's,
if-
he's
what-
talking
what-
politics and shit now.
That- no, I'm not talking
we gotta
politics.
booze up.
I'm not talking politics.
We're gonna booze on that.
I'm
Okay,
talking
go
about
ahead.
the next Anthony Scaramucci chapter because you resonate with all the groups we just talked about, the people that are disenfranchised and the people that don't understand the disenfranchised. You speak to both those groups.
You know, on Wall Street, we are front stabbers. In Washington, they're back stabbers. Look what they did to Elon Musk. I gave a press conference from the White House, 21st of July, 2017. When I finished, I was going from lower press back up to the Oval Office. My phone was ringing. It was a political aide up on Capitol Hill, a friend of mine. He said, "What the hell are you doing?" I said, "What do you mean? You can't talk like that from the White House." "What do you mean?" "Well, you're talking directly to the American people. You're not allowed to do that." We've got Republican senators asking me for Oppo research on you. Get this guy out of here.
Yeah.
So for me to go into politics, that's it. You're going right into the volcano.
What is a tip for
Yeah,
everybody?
give us one tip.
One tip before we leave.
Like how much money you're supposed to leave
No,
on
no,
the
no,
table?
no, no,
Or
no,
like
no,
a
no,
tip
no.
about
For
life.
the people, yeah.
About life.
The number one thing, listen to me. I've tried everything. The number one thing is gratitude. You got to get up in the morning and you got to write down 10 things that you are excited by. Okay? I'm not a big, tall, muscular guy like you. I'm a short guy, okay? When I look at the glass always looks half full to me. I am too short to see the glass as anything other than half full, no matter what's going on. You're getting fired from the White House, humiliated on late night television, destroyed by the Dan Nathans on cable television. If that's what's going to happen to you, no problem. You take that, okay, and you write down the things that you are grateful for. I'm teasing you, by the way. I love you.
You're a gracious
Give me,
man,
give me
by
a
the way.
kiss.
You know what I'm grateful for? I mean this, our friendship. So
Me too. I'm delighted to be here.
Thanks, man.
Salute. Salute. If you haven't figured it out, I'm drinking that fast. That's cranberry juice. That ain't fucking Negroni, okay?
Standing Table is presented by Apex FinTech Solutions. Just like great restaurants need the right infrastructure behind the scenes, the world of investing needs that same foundation. Apex is that foundation. If you've ever bought a stock on your phone, there's a good chance Apex made it happen. Learn more at apexfintechsolutions.com/standing table.